welcome back to another episode of Maintenance with Mike. As you can see today, we are in the ensuite bathroom, and we have removed the cap and the housing for this exhaust fan. We're going to be changing that out to a DC drive a Panasonic Whisper Quiet fan. The nice thing about that is that's about an 8x8 hole, or 8x8 square, the original Newtone one, and the new Panasonic one comes out to about here. It's 11 7/8 square, and then the grill cover is about 13 inches by 13 inches square. So we've disconnected the fan by unplugging it, taking out one screw here, and then this whole housing drops out of the can. And then I've cut around the drywall to not damage it anymore. You can see I've pulled this paper off a little bit in the corner here. You don't want to damage this textured ceiling, otherwise you're gonna have to respray it, right? You can't touch it up very well. So I'm hoping this is just screwed to this truss here. I'll undo those screws, and then hopefully I'll be able to pull this housing right out. And then we will have to, I guess, come back down and cut this out to the 11 7/8 square. And also, as I mentioned while we're up there, we're going to look, the gable that we looked at from the outside is over here, right? This is the gable on this back wall inside the closet. And we need to figure out from that soffit where we want to drill the 4-inch hole, the new 4-inch hole through. Because they cheated a little bit on this one. You can see the duct goes out this way. They just dumped this exhaust fan into the soffit instead of going out through a gable. And the problem with that is, yes, it works. You're better off to go to an outside gable or roof, I would say. The problem with the soffit is it's such a narrow space at that pitch at the end of the roof there, and you're going to get vapors and moisture traveling up. It's not all going to go out through the soffit. It's going to go back up through the soffit, and it's going to make moisture on your underside of your roof plywood and probably cause mold. So that's not the best option. I would say roof or gable would be the first two, and number three, if all those other ones don't work out, you can go out through the soffit. But 1 and 2 would be roof or gable. So anyway, as you can see, I'm suited up here. I've got my headlamp on, got my camera ready to go on my head. I'll try not to make you dizzy with the helmet cam here, but that's the game plan. I'm going to take you with me and hopefully be able to show you what's going on up there. So before we get suited up and go into the attic, we need to try to confirm where we want to drill the 4-inch hole on the gable side of the bathroom, and then take a picture of that, and then try to find relatively where that hole will come through when we go into the attic to install the bracket for the fan. Just kind of killing two birds with one stone and eliminate as many trips up there as possible. So I'm going to flip you around here and show you. So this is the wall that we're going to be putting the vent on, and that vent looks exactly like this vent. Sorry, the heat pump's running here. So that's the new vent that I installed the other day in the short video. The nice dampered system. So what now we want to do is figure out, so we will be able to see the underside of this soffit here from inside the attic space, and you can see that sort of lines up with this piece of siding, right? I'm hoping you can see that. So it kind of lines up with the bottom third of that piece of siding, which would be this piece here, right? So in all likelihood, we're going to go one full piece up from that in the center here and drill well, that's another thing too. So right here where the gable meets, there's probably a stud here running vertically for this wall. So we're probably just going to offset it and put it on this side. But that's another thing we need to look for when we're in the attic space is what's the spacing of these studs that are running vertically here, and where we sort of want this to come into play here. So yeah, I can see the underside of this soffit here ends up at this piece here. We're probably going to go to this next full piece here and follow it across and be just off-centered and punch the 4-inch hole through there. But we need to have a look on the inside and make sure all of this lines up. So we're thinking, before we go inside here, let's just double check. Here's the soffit underneath here. We're thinking that's probably roughly the same height. Actually, it's probably below the ceiling height. I would say the ceiling height is where the soffit turns here, which would be right here. So here's the bottom of the soffit. It goes up, and where it turns here and starts running towards the gable, that's probably the line of the roof inside the bathroom. We'll have to double check that, because we definitely need to figure out if we're drilling the 4-inch hole through this panel or this panel. And the only way to figure that out is to go inside and find a reference point such as this soffit here and figure out where the top of that ceiling is, because the last thing we want to do is pick this board, drill a 4-inch hole through thinking we're drilling into the attic space, and we end up halfway between the ceiling of the ensuite and the attic. That's exactly what you don't want. So you can see I've taken a bag with me here to try to make it a little bit easier to maneuver. So the idea is you want to walk on these the bottom part of the truss where they meet all the way down, and unfortunately this access hatch is on the opposite end of the house, so we have to walk all the way down. We have to walk all the way down to there and then go through another access hatch into the ensuite. So yeah, good times. There, we gotta go all the way down there. Oh boy. Okay, off we go. No rest for the wicked, eh? So we've got the box pulled out now. I forgot my tester, so the switch is off, but it looks like they're carrying on to something else or another device here. So we'll have to double check that that's off. And then I want to go down to the end and measure from the ceiling down to about the top of this bottom plate of the truss, so I can figure out where we want to drill through outside. I can't see this way. I can't see any of the soffitting and stuff that we looked at earlier. So we're gonna have to change the plan here, because this is the ridge vent. So if we go right down the end and measure, or if we go to, say we measure it from here down to here, then we know how far to drop down from the outside to drill through, and we'll just pick a nice wide new board and drill a hole through. So let's grab a tape measure. So if we measure from the underside of the ridge vent and we come right down, if the 4-inch hole would be nice to have it like 26 to 30 would be the perfect height to come through. If we want to, we could go a bit higher, but 26 to 30 would be, the bottom of the hole at 30 would be perfect. So let's go outside and see what that looks like. Okay, so a little bit of a trick here. We know from the underside of those shingles is where the ridge cap is, the vented ridge cap. We want 26 inches down to the top of the 4-inch hole. The 4-inch hole is going to span 26 to 30. So if we take a level and take our tape measure, here's 26, 27, so it's an inch on this side, to 30, an inch on this side. So we put it in the center, which is 28, and we clamp it. Now we'll be able to hold this up to the shingles, and then check for level and mark the wall. That'll tell us where we want this 4-inch hole to go through. I might have to move this in a bit, sort of thing. Right? So we're underneath the ridge cap right now. We're at level. .30, so it's going to be this one. It's got to be this. It's got to be this board here. So when we come out of our exhaust fan in our bathroom, we're going to go up high, and we're going to run it inside this truss, and then we're going to drop it down. Right? So you want the last 10 inches or so to be pointing to the outside, right? So any condensation that tries to come in through the seal around that damper and stuff condenses right there in that 10 inches and drains out. So this is the idea here, is we're going to go with, I mean, this one would probably still be safe, but boy, that's the center of that one is another 5 inches down. We said we could go to 32, but that's too much. So it is going to have to be this one here. Hopefully you guys can see that. We've got it up to the peak. We've clamped it at 26. We're sitting at level there. So it's going to be this piece here. And we can put that in the center. Let me take this off here. Take that clamp off the level for a second. We got 7 inches, so 3.5 is center. And we want to come from right here. Let's let it sort of do a bit of a plumb bob thing here. So here is the 885 BL, which is what we did around the corner there. You can take this off now, the tape. So we just want to make sure that this is 4-inch to go through. 4-inch hole saw. Yes, sirree, Bob. Ooh, that's tight, eh? Let's go see if I have a slightly larger one than that. Let's quickly check this. So if the center of it is there, this flange is going to sit tucked just under this lip, so it's be nice. It won't overhang the bottom here, and it'll be up underneath this lip. So I think center is good. So let's go double check and see if I have a slightly bigger hole saw. I think that's all I got is the 4-inch. We're gonna have to make do with that. So I actually found a Milwaukee hole dozer that I had bought there's the actual 4-inch inside, which is the exact same 4-inch OD as that. So this is about 4 1/4. So that's going to give us a little bit of breathing room, right, for that to fit in there. What I do is I only use 2 screws to screw it in. I caulk these ones with some Big Stretch black, and I put some really good silicone in a U shape right around here, so that when we suck it up to the wall, if anything tries to go down behind here, it hits this big U shape of silicone and goes out, so it won't go into the hole. So that's going to do it. We want to go with this. So these, just so you know, your arbor, you pull this back, it threads in here. A lot of people make the mistake of just tightening it. No, you want to loosen it now and go back a bit and let it snap in. That way you can get it undone after. So you want to stand back here and make sure you're centered. You're in the right panel you want, because yeah, let me tell you, my friend, you get one shot at this, and if you do it wrong, you're redoing some siding. So let's punch a hole. Scary times, eh? This is what we want. That's the first piece. Here's some tar paper, which is good. It's a good sign. Now we just have to get through the particle board. Right on top of the insulation. Nice. That's a win for Maintenance with Mike. That is a win. Okay. Let's put the vent in, caulk it, screw it on, and then back inside we go. Okay. So I've got some screws here that are painted black. We've got 3 in case I drop one. Here's our vent with the spring-loaded flap. We've got some Big Stretch black to cover these holes. I only use 2 screws to screw it in. And then we have the Dynaflex. We're going to do a big Dynaflex loop around there to make sure it holds it nicely. That'll sit right up underneath there nicely. I like that. Okay, let's do the let's get the caulking on here. So the top is here. So I'm going to basically just do a big goop all the way around here, so when it seals tight, it seals around that hole and seals any water from coming down. If you get a little too much on there, it's going to squeeze out the sides, but it is what it is. I guess there could be worse things. I just don't want anything getting into the attic space, so we just go all the way around like that. put our cap back in. And then the big stretch I like, because it's black, and I like to put some right here where these screws are going to go in, just in case any of that sort of squishes out. And then I just do a little bit, a thin piece up here, probably not required, but anyway. And then what I'll do is after I screw it on, I'll fill these 4 holes with the big stretch. So let's screw this in place now. Oops. A little bit coming out of there already. Wipe it on my fancy overalls. Okay, in we go. We want it right up against the underside of here. That's what we're looking for. Like that. I'm gonna get one of those trusty screws out of my pocket. I'm gonna put it on my drill. Hopefully it stays on there. And then we're going to put one screw in right here. And one more on the other side, and then we'll clean that up a little bit. Probably safe to put these on now. So you can see a bit of it squeezing up here. So that'll seal that up nicely. And then these, I just like to fill in a little bit there so you don't see any of the beige behind. And we'll clean up those other little ones there. There. We'll wipe the excess off around here in a second. So I get a paper towel. Okay. So I'm not going to worry too much about up here. We'll just wipe a bit of this out of here. Just means it's sealed at the top, which is what we want. A little bit off the side here. A little bit off this side here. Around those screws that we've siliconed in, which is good. Looks like I got a little bit on the top here. A little bit off here. And then see if we can clean this up. Nice. Yeah, that looks good. That's how it should have been done in the first place. When the roof was off. It would have been a lot easier walking in there with the roof off. Oh well. Builds character. Yeah, so let's come this way to the 10 7/8. This way to 10 7/8. And 7/8 this way. Right. So we'll come out to here. We've got 10 7/8, 10 7/8. And then from here, 10 7/8, 10 7/8. So we're going to cut this section here out a little bit, just slightly bigger. Let's do this here. Cut up to here. straight across here. That right then? Let's look at that. Ugh. So we're gonna get tenants. It's probably not quite. I'll have to cut to the outside of that line to give me enough to clear the stud here with that can. Yeah. Cut on the outside of this a little bit. And then into here, and then this will be 10 7/8. 10 7/8. Plastic after.